Hey guys, so I had a beautiful 2025 bride ask me for some advice and if I could make a video on how to do her own bridal makeup. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to make a tutorial for natural glowy bridal makeup. For starters, to prep the skin, just make sure your skin is all washed and clean. And I know a lot of people like to load on the skincare before they do makeup. I find that it makes your makeup slip off your skin easier, so I would do like a moisturizer or something like a brightening vitamin C serum, but don't load on all the skincare before your makeup. One thing you do want to put on though is a primer, and this is the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. Mine is like so dirty, okay? Don't judge. But this one is so good. It's e.l.f. so it's cheap, but it is so sticky and it's gonna make your makeup stay on all day, especially if you're a bride. You might be crying, sweating, whatever it might be. I focus my primer. I have like the most, I sweat the most and have the biggest pores around this area, but kind of put it everywhere, but I kind of focus it in this area right over here. I already washed my skin and stuff and I'm not having this on all day, so I didn't prep with skincare. But yeah, this primer is really good. It's like super sticky. I don't know if you can see, look. You probably can't see that very well. Okay, now for your base, I recommend the e.l.f. Halo Glow. It is like the dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury. You could use either, but this one's just cheaper and it works just as well. And then for foundation, this was recommended to me by a dermatologist years ago and I've used it ever since. It's the NYX Total Control Drop Foundation. This is really good. It's not even gonna focus. Hello? Yeah. Okay, this is really good because it doesn't break you out. So it's I don't know how to say it. I say comedogenic. I don't know if that's how you say it, but anyways, basically the molecules or whatever you call it in here is too big to be absorbed into your pores, so it won't break you out. And I have worn this for formals, the whole rush week where I'm literally sweating my butt off, and this doesn't sweat off, it sticks on. So I kind of combine the two. This is going to be more matte and then this is obviously glowy, but my biggest tip to make it look natural is to use your color correctors. So the majority of the time, especially with drugstore foundations, which these are both drugstore, NYX and e.l.f., they're nice and cheap, but they tend to be a little warm and orangey yellowy in my opinion, and my skin is not that. I'm pretty fair and I actually have like pink undertones, so the orange looks really bad on me. So this is what I recommend. It's the LA Girl Pro Color Mixing Foundation Pigment. They have this in all different colors, and if you know anything about the color wheel, blue is opposite of orange. So if you have a foundation that's a little bit too orange for you, you're gonna mix in some blue. This doesn't mess with the like texture of the foundation at all. It just is a pigment. They also have red ones, yellow ones if you are a bit more yellow or olive. If you need more help with color mixing, I would try looking up a video, an artist video that'll explain it more. But for me, they're usually too orange, so I squirt some pumps into my foundation bottle and mix it up. I've already done that. I usually do it when I first get a foundation, so mine isn't as orange as when I first got it. But you could always too, if you don't want to mess with the whole bottle, again, mine's really dirty, but get a little mixing palette, squirt some on here if you're not sure like how much you need, because you definitely don't want to go too blue, and mix it up in here and then try it on your face. But yeah, and then there's also like peachy ones. So we're gonna get into the base. My biggest tip for making your base look natural is to use a dense brush like this. This is the NYX brush in number 37. Perfect. Like, again, drugstore, super cheap, but I recommend this brush specifically because it just helps to spread your makeup so well. So usually I go in and I kind of put this all over my face. And then also another thing is you don't have to stick with one foundation color. I have 3 different shades of this foundation depending on how tan I am. Right now I'm super pale. So I'm gonna use this shade, but squirting it on, and then take your brush and blend it out. And this helps it to spread around really nicely. And then at the end, after I spread this all around with the brush, then I'll go in with a beauty blender and just dab it to make sure there's no brush streaks and it's really pressed into the skin very nicely. But make sure you get like down your neck, and look at how naturally pretty that is. Like, that looks like my skin. And now I'm gonna take a beauty blender. I recommend wetting it, but this is not wet, it's dry. But I just kind of go in really quick and press it into my skin to make sure there's no brush marks and it's just really in there. Another tip is you don't want to mix your powder and cream. So you stay cream with cream, powder with powder. Don't be mixing them up because that's gonna look super cakey. So we're gonna start with all of our cream products. And if you have, I don't know if you can see, there's kind of foundation on there. I have the world's worst dark circles ever. So my biggest tip for that, again, color correcting. Like, my makeup always turns out so good because I'm an art major, and so I know how to do all of the different like color theory with your skin. So quick little walkthrough. Again, this is NYX, super cheap drugstore. So if you have purple anywhere, you're gonna use yellow because yellow cancels out purple. Green will cancel out red, although green is an overpowering color, so be very sparingly with that. Peach, I also have this peach one too. It just helps to brighten. And purple is gonna cancel out yellow. So if we look at my skin, I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up, but I have, yeah, the camera's not picking it up too well. I have some green on the inner parts of my eyes, and then I have some purple and red under here. So what I'm gonna do to cancel out the green is take a peach, because that's kind of more red toned, put it over my green areas, which are right in here. Then I'm gonna take my yellow and a little bit of green, like I said, it's pretty overpowering, and put it on those red purple areas. And the color correcting, you want to do a thin layer of, because it's going to go under your normal concealer. And you don't want it to look cakey, especially on your under eyes. So that already helped so much. Now we're going to go in with concealer. And I have used this since middle school. I will not use another concealer. Like, everybody I tell, get this concealer. It's the Tarte Shape Tape, the normal one, not the creamy or whatever. It's so good. It does not crease. I wear this every single day, and most days if I'm lazy and just going to class or whatever, I don't even like set it with powder, which is bad, but it doesn't crease even when I don't set it with powder. So that's really awesome. Another thing with concealer is I know a lot of people like to go super light to try to brighten their under eyes, but in my experience, also pause, I'm using a dense brush like this. This is BH Cosmetics in 137. Anyways, I know a lot of people like to go really bright to try to brighten up these areas, and that's fine if you go like a shade or two lighter, especially if you're doing like these areas. But what I've found, if you're trying to cover up dark circles instead of brighten, because there's a difference, the lighter you go, the less it covers. So if you think about like when you're painting and you have a dark color, like a bright red canvas, and you're trying to cover that and you do a layer of white, that red is still going to show through, right? If you do like a little bit of a darker color, like a beige, it's going to cover it more. I don't know if this makes any sense, but the lighter you go, the less it covers, if that makes sense. So if you do want to brighten, what I recommend is to use a thin layer of your skin color and then a brighter color on top, but also not too light because it looks a little funky. But you're gonna use your brush and tap it in, don't drag it. So just tap it all up and then do a little bit on your eyelid, but not overpowering because we don't want it to crease. And then after that, if you want to, you can take your beauty blender again just to make sure there's no brush marks. and quickly dab it in. And the thought is to immediately set your under eyes, but remember what I said, we don't want to mix powder with cream, so we're going to do all of our creams first. So I use the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand. It's really good. And if you really want things to show up, I always recommend doing cream first, and then once you set your face, you can do the powder products on top. So with contouring, something that I see a lot of girls do is they put it too low. They put it down here and it just makes it look muddy. And so you don't want to put it too low. You want to put it kind of like in line from the corner of your mouth to the top of your ear, where your cheekbone is. Like, put it higher than you would think. And again, with a brush, tap it in. So every time you're using a brush, don't drag, because it's going to take off your makeup that's under. You want to tap. But anyways, put your contour higher than you would think that you would need it. I end up putting highlighter up here anyways, so it'll make sense. But a lot of people, I see they make a line all the way to the corner of their mouth. Don't do that. You look like Pinocchio. Stop it up here, and then with this extra, you can just blend it into your cheek kind of as a blush. And for me, I like to blend it down just because I have slight dimples. And then I'm going to do my forehead and my nose. I don't really contour my nose at all because I like the natural shape of my nose, so I kind of just put it there to increase the definition. I forgot to mention, but if you do want a little bit more of a bronzy glow look, then you can mix this in with your foundation. It's the e.l.f. bronzing drops, similar as the Drunk Elephant ones. But go very sparingly. These things are pigmented, like you only need a tiny amount. But anyways, now we're going to do blush. I use the Rare Beauty blush in Bliss, but honestly anything from Rare Beauty is good. Just be careful because they are very pigmented the darker you go. This one, you kind of want to focus it up on top of your cheekbone to lift your face up, because when you put it down here, it kind of makes you look like those, what are they called? Brag dolls, I think? And it drags your face down. So again, we're going to tap it up on top of our cheekbones. Lastly, for the creams, we have my highlight. This is the Charlotte Tilbury in Spotlight. Mine exploded, so only use the tiniest little dot because it's so pigmented. And then again, I'm going to use kind of a looser, dense, fluffy brush and just tap that in on top of my cheekbones, and with any extra, bring it up to like my brow bone, kind of like in a C shape. So now all of our cream products are on. Now we can set with powder. So I recommend the Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder. Again, I've used this for years, and it's my favorite because it does not give flashback. If you're using flash photography, you're not gonna look like a pale ghost. And it's also just really good. It is a little bit more expensive. You can find it at Sephora, but this tester one, it's like the smaller tester. This is the full size. This tester's lasted me so long. So a good thing to note is the more powder you use, the more it's going to enhance your fine lines. So if you have a lot of fine lines in an area, go light with the powder. I'm taking a little powder puff and then dabbing it on the back of my hand to kind of disperse the powder. And then I'm lightly going to tap it into my under eyes to make sure that my under eyes are set. But you don't want to use a buttload on your under eyes, because at least for me, that's where all my little fine lines are. So if you use a bunch, it's going to enhance those. Just enough to set it where your concealer isn't going to crease. And then I also do my eyelids because since I put concealer on my eyelids, it kind of acts as an eyeshadow primer for me. For the rest of your face, I recommend also just dabbing it in, especially on your more oily areas. For me, that's my chin, around my nose, and my forehead, because pushing it into your skin is going to ensure that it stays on and it doesn't just fly off your face when you're sweating or crying or whatever the case might be. Once I've pressed all the powder into my skin, I'm just going to take a loose little powder brush. This is the Real Techniques contour brush technically, but whatever. And I take a little bit of powder and I'm just basically dusting all the powder to blend it all together. And I'm avoiding going on top of my highlight because that's going to make your highlight look really weird. So go everywhere except for your highlight. My other tip to make sure that your makeup stays on all day, especially with crying, sweating, whatever, is to use setting spray after every step. So this is the Milani Make It Last Original. You can buy it at Target, Ulta, whatever. It's cheap and it's the best. I've used this for years. And then everyone on TikTok discovered it. And I was like, girl, we've been new about it. So after I set my face with powder, I'm going to melt all of those products together with this. Okay, now remember how I said that if we really want our things to stand out, to do powder on top of the cream? My cream products kind of disappeared just a little bit under the powder and everything. So I'm going to do powder on top of all of this. I'm using the ColourPop blush in the shade New to You. It's just this really pretty color. And again, focus on going up, not here in a circle. But if you do like the more sun-kissed look, what you can do is take a little bit on your nose. I think that that can look really cute. Now for your bronzer contour, I'm just using a NARS one in Laguna. I got it as a tester, but it's actually really good, so I've been using it. With this, you want to make sure you have more of like a loose brush, because if you have a dense brush and you're trying to scrub on your contour, it's going to take off all of the products under. So I'm just going to do a little bit. And then again, follow that cheekbone higher than you would think. And you're really just emphasizing the cream products that you put on under, so just follow those guides. And lastly, for highlight, this one, I don't even know if they sell this anymore. I've had this for so long. It's the Anastasia Amrezy highlighter, and it's my favorite. I've used this for literally years, and I still haven't hit the pan. But anyways, I'm just going to take a loose little highlight brush and dust it on where I put the cream. But with this one, I'm also going to highlight the tip of my nose, just right there. And then I'm also going to highlight my inner corners right there. And my biggest tip when you're using something like a highlighter or a sparkly eyeshadow is to use your finger, because a lot of it will come off on the brush and your finger will make sure it actually stays pigmented. Okay, now we could go two ways for the eyes. I'm gonna show the smoky eye kind of look if you want to do that. If not, you can skip the eyeliner. But I'm pretty sure they're both, this is the NYX Epic Ink Liner, and then this one's just a Maybelline Tattoo Studio. This one's like a pencil liner, and then this one is liquid, and you're gonna need both if you want to follow this look. So if you're bad at eyeliner, like making sure your wings are even, just like me, I recommend taking like a little flat brush with some brown and just like outlining. I usually continue my bottom waterline and flick it to the outside of my eyebrow, just like that. And I'm just making kind of a guide for where my eyeliner is gonna go, because eyeshadow is very forgiving, you can wipe it away. So again, following that to the end of my eyebrow, making that outline so I know where to put my eyeliner. Okay, now with my liquid eyeliner, I'm gonna make a little baby wing, and then I'm gonna connect it and do my top line. And if you struggle to do eyeliner, because I know I used to, just like look at yourself in the mirror and focus so hard and make sure you have your times to like take it away, blink, and then go back. Now that the eyeliner is on, now we're gonna take the pencil liner and connect it to the bottom. So this little like awkward space right here, we're gonna fill that in just like that, and now it's filled in. And then we're gonna take it on our waterline just like that, and that is gonna enhance your eyes, especially if you have light eyes. It's just gonna make them pop. So I'm gonna do the other eye real quick and then come back. Now what's really important is that on your pencil liner, the opposite end on most all pencil liners have this like little smudge thing. So I'm gonna take the top and smudge it. You wanna keep the bottom line sharp, but smudge the top. I'll show you what I'm talking about. And the reason that we're smudging the top of it is because we're gonna create an ombre eyeshadow look from this. I don't like a super heavy black eye, so I only smudge it like a little bit, and I'm mainly gonna do brown. And again, if you don't want a dark eye, you can totally skip this eyeliner step, but I would tune back in right here. So again, I'm going to take my little flat eyeshadow brush and I'm going to use a dark brown, and I'm going to act like a faux eyeliner on the top. So let me think. I don't know if you can see this. I'm just kind of stamping it in there, and then we'll blend it out in a minute. And if you did skip the eyeliner step, this is where your brown can kind of act as like an eyeliner, but it's just your eyeshadow. I'm going to take a tiny little pencil brush and take that dark brown, this is really pigmented, and stamp it into the corner of my eye and just very lightly flick it out to create that ombre. And remember, your eyeliner should be the bottom line, so there should be nothing past your eyeliner. It should look kind of sharp. You also want to bring that color into this crease right here, and then we're just going to blend it out. Don't worry, I know it looks a little crazy right now, but when we blend and add the other colors, it's going to make sense. Just making your eyes ombre, you're going to do the darkest out here, the lightest in here, and making that ombre is going to make your eyes really pop. Again, I'm taking that same highlighter just because it's really pigmented, and on my finger, not on a brush, I am going to put it on the inner third of my eye, just like that, so it stays pigmented. And then once that's on, you can take a little fluffy brush and just make sure that they seamlessly blend together just like that. I know I personally usually get eyelash extensions, so if it were my wedding, I would probably already have eyelash extensions, but they can get expensive. So if you're not looking for that option, I recommend mascara. So this you can buy at any drugstore. Really, this is what you need, and you can use any brand of these individual lashes, but you have your bond side and your seal side, and the way that you do it is you use the bond side, which is basically like a sticky mascara. You put it on like normal, and then you're going to take your individual little lashes, and what's different from these about strip lashes is you put them under. And it sounds intimidating, but it's really not that scary, especially because they do give you like a tweezer type tool, but you just put them under, they stick to your eyelashes, and once you have them all on how you want, you use the seal side, and this basically seals them to your eyelashes, and then they will be on there for like 2 weeks. They're cry proof and everything. I'm not doing them right now because I don't want them on for 2 weeks. If you do go with this option, you definitely will need the like Kiss mascara remover, because when it's time to take them off, unless you have that, it is very hard to get off and it is very sticky, but that means they stick for a long time. The reason I recommend those so much is because since it goes under your eyelashes and it's individual, first of all, it looks so much more natural, and second of all, you don't see that lash band. The lash band isn't lifting off your inner corners. It just looks so much more natural. If you have your eyes closed or you're looking down, you can't see anything. Plus, it's waterproof and it can stick on all the way through your honeymoon. Because I'm not wanting my lashes on for 2 weeks right now, I'm just going to use mascara. And if you did want to go with this route, I recommend the Brooklyn & Bailey Lash Next Door. It is a little bit of a waxier material, but it's a tubing mascara, which means that it's water resistant. It's not going to run down your face if you cry, but it is very easy to take off at the end of the night. So you literally just, you don't even need makeup remover. You just take water and you go like this, and they come off in little tubes. I recommend at least 2 coats, but for your wedding day, probably 3. And what I do is I normally put it on like normal, and then Brooklyn & Bailey did a tutorial with this mascara teaching this tip. I go on top and curl up to make sure I'm getting the top of my lashes coated as well, just like that. And then I brush through them to make sure that they're not clumped up. And a little warning that I'm going to give, because I have definitely experienced all the things in the world of lash growth serums. If you're wanting to do that for your wedding, I definitely recommend experimenting with it way before your wedding, because in my experiences, do they work? Yes. However, they do have some side effects. And one of them, which is the reason why my dark circles are so bad to this day, is some of the ingredients that are in the eyelash growth product, it breaks down fat. Now you would think, oh, that's a good idea. Well, when it breaks down the fat, that's breaking down the fat on your under eyes, which makes that skin very thin. And when it gets very thin, it gets see-through, which is why you're able to see all your veins, and then you get horrible dark circles. There's also been side effects in other people that I have experienced as well, with eye twitching, eye droopiness, so I'd be very careful with the eyelash growth serums. Now time for eyebrows. My two holy grails right here. This one is a little bit more expensive. It's the Anastasia eyebrow pencil. I use the pencil instead of the Brow Wiz because it lasts so much longer. It's also cheaper, I think. And then the Maybelline Build-A-Brow. Oh my gosh, you need this. It's drugstore. It's pretty cheap, but the reason this is so good, if you can see that, it's like a little eyeliner, very fine tip, and you're able to draw in your brow hairs. I would experiment a lot before your wedding day with the brow shape that you like and how you like to do them, but the way your brow hairs grow, at least mine, grows up at the front, down at a diagonal here, and then also up there. So I'm going to use this to draw in my brow hairs at the top because the top of my brows are pretty sparse. You can watch me. It's such a fine tip. So you're literally able to just, like, look at that. Those are brow hairs right there, right? But now that I've drawn in my little individual brow hairs to fill in the sparseness, now I'm gonna take my pencil, and then I'm just gonna fill in my brow, but I'm not gonna go all the way up until where I drew them in, because you kind of want to be able to see those little hair strokes to make it look natural. This is kind of for the bulk of your brow. But your shape should be defined by the little hairs that you draw in. We're gonna stick our eyebrows to our face. This is the NYX brow glue. This thing is very sticky. And I usually brush up, then at a diagonal, and then down. That's just the way that my eyebrow hairs grow, but everybody's grow different. This is just what I do. And then I don't like when they stick up like that, so I kind of go along the top, make sure they're not sticking up. And now it's time for your lips. This is gonna be a weird hack, but I'm just gonna be so honest. The best shade of nude for your lips is to match your lip liner with your nipple color. I know that sounds weird, but it's just the best nude on you, I swear. If you have a similar complexion to me, I have been using the Milani in All Natural for years. And I have lip fillers, so it's not very fair, but I used to have a double lip line. So if you also have a double lip line, which means the color of your lips ends at a different point than the shape of your lips, you want to go with the shape, not the color. Also, I love this lip filler because it stays on all day, no matter what you eat, drink, kiss, whatever. It is going to stay on your lips. But the way to make it stay on your lips is when you fill it in, stretch your lips out so it gets into all the cracks like this. I think the way to make your lips look super defined and really pop is to use a shade darker and go around, but we don't want to have the early 2000 mom's lip liner lips because those are bleh. So we're gonna blend it. I don't have a lip liner at the moment of this color, so I'm just using a lipstick. We're gonna go around the edges and then, like our eye, blend it up into your lip color. I left my lip brush in my purse, so I'm just using this little Laneige thing, but I'm just picking it up and then flicking it up to blend it in like this. And then I usually like glossy lips, so I always put a gloss on top. And this is not a gloss, it's actually a lip sleeping mask, but it is the most beautiful thing, and it's moisturizing. It's the Laneige lip sleeping mask, but you can use any clear gloss that you want. I usually use this, and look how pretty it is when you put it on. Look at how glossy that is. Like, yes, it's technically a lip sleeping mask, but it is so gorgeous and moisturizing. So that is the completed makeup look, but I do have one more tip. For all of my brides who are going to be sweating or crying or whatever it might be, have a dry beauty blender on you at all times. Have a dedicated beauty blender holder. And the reason why I say this is because when you're sweating or crying, instead of wiping it with a tissue that's going to take your makeup off, you dab it in. So you dab your tears, your sweat, whatever, and I swear it saves your makeup so much to use a beauty blender instead of a tissue. So I hope this video was helpful, and congratulations to all you 2024-2025 brides.